The moment the church doors burst open, time seemed to stop. Gasps rippled through the guests. The bride's bouquet slipped from her trembling hands. And at the far end of the aisle, standing beneath the stained glass glow, Darius Collins watched in horror as his mother, Evelyn, shoved past the ushers and pointed a shaking finger straight at Kira. Her voice cracked through the sanctuary like lightning. "You will not marry my son. Not after what you did to my husband." Every head snapped toward the bride. Every smile died at once. The wedding of the year had just become a battlefield. And what no one knew, what not even Darius could have imagined, was that this was only the beginning. Because tucked deep inside Evelyn's purse, hidden beneath a folded lace handkerchief, was the weapon that would turn this ceremony into a crime scene. But to understand how this moment became a tragedy, we must go back to the morning. Kira LeJoy woke up before sunrise, her heart already racing. She sat at the edge of her bed, wearing the silk robe her mother had gifted her, hands clasped together, trying to steady her breath. Today was supposed to be perfect. Today she was supposed to marry the man she loved. But guilt has a way of waking before dawn. Downstairs, her maid of honor, Tiana, bustled around excitedly, fixing flowers and humming soft wedding tunes. "Kira, girl, come on, makeup time. You're getting married today." Kira forced a smile, but Tiana caught the tremble in her hands. "You okay?" Kira nodded, but her eyes said otherwise. And miles across town, Evelyn Collins was reading her late husband's diary again. Page after page of confessions. Regret, a secret affair. A single night with a woman who was too young, too beautiful, too tempting. A name he never wrote, but one Evelyn had finally identified. Kira, the woman her son was marrying. Her grip tightened around the diary. "This wedding ends today," she whispered. It happened in the rose garden behind Kira's dressing suite. Kira stepped out alone, hoping the morning air would steady her. But instead, she found Evelyn waiting there, standing perfectly still by the fountain like a statue carved out of fury. Kira froze. Evelyn stepped closer. "Do you think I don't know?" she whispered. "Do you think Terrence took that secret to the grave?" Kira's breath caught in her throat. Her hands trembled, Evelyn's face twisted. "You slept with my husband, and now you expect to stand in front of God and take my son's hand in marriage?" The bride's knees weakened. Tears pooled instantly. "It was a mistake," Kira choked. "It was 10 years ago. I never meant..." But Evelyn's slap silenced her. "You ruined my marriage," she hissed. "And today I ruin your future." When Kira walked into the church later, her smile was brittle. Her mother squeezed her hand, her father studied her face, but Kira couldn't speak. And Evelyn was already waiting inside, sitting stiffly in the front pew, clutching a purse that hid a terrible decision. As the ceremony started, Reverend Samuel's voice echoed calmly. "We are gathered here today to join." But then, the doors opened. Evelyn rose, and everything shattered. Before we continue, pause for a moment and imagine this. A church full of people, a bride shaking in silence, a groom torn between his mother and the woman he loves, and one question hanging in the air like smoke. What terrible truth was Evelyn so desperate to expose? And how could a mistake from a decade ago destroy a wedding today? Let's dive in. The church fell silent. Darius stared at his mother. "Mom, what are you talking about?" But Evelyn's eyes were locked on Kira. The Reverend tried to intervene, but Evelyn's voice cut him off. "Sacred? This woman slept with my husband." "Terrence Collins!" A collective gasp hit the room. Evelyn reached into her purse, not for the weapon, not yet, but for a small leather diary. She held it high. "I found this 2 months ago. Terrence wrote everything, his affair." Turning to Darius, tears in her eyes, she said, "Your father betrayed me, and she is the woman he betrayed me with." Kira broke. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "It was a mistake, 10 years ago." "You ruined my family." Evelyn screamed. Darius looked at Kira, his voice filled with hurt. "Kira, is it true?" The room held its breath. She nodded, tears spilling down her face. Darius closed his eyes. He wasn't angry. He was devastated. After a long, breathless moment, Darius stepped closer to Kira. He gently touched her cheek. "I wish you had told me," he said quietly. "But I still love you," the church exhaled. But Evelyn's face turned dark. "You choose her?" she whispered. Darius nodded. "I won't let it destroy our future." Evelyn's fingers tightened on her purse. "A terrible mistake," she whispered. The Reverend asked, "Shall we continue?" As the ceremony tried to resume, Evelyn sat down, her purse clutched tight. Inside, the knife waited, and Kira felt a new emotion, not guilt, but danger. For a few seconds, just a few, the church feels almost normal again. The priest reads on. Guests settle into uneasy silence. Darius stands tall beside Kira, his hand on hers in a show of calm. But no one, not a single soul, fails to notice Evelyn Collins. She sits in the very front pew, back straight, knuckles white, her handbag pressed tightly to her lap. Inside that handbag, metal glints, and only she knows why. Reverend Samuel resumes the prayer, his voice steady but tense. Marriage is the bond that unites two souls before God. The words drift through the church like smoke, but no one really listens. Kira should feel relieved. Darius still chose her. But something inside her coils tight, a prickling at the back of her neck. Slowly, she turns her head. Evelyn is staring straight at her. Expression blank, eyes cold, hand inside her purse. Kira's breath catches. Darius doesn't notice. "You okay?" he whispers. Kira nods, but her eyes flick back to Evelyn. I don't know," she whispers back. But he doesn't see what Kira sees. Evelyn's chest rises, falls, too fast, too sharp. Her jaw clenches. Her fingers tighten around something inside the bag. She's unraveling. Guests shift uncomfortably. The tension isn't just a feeling anymore, it's visible. Evelyn's fingers brush the cold handle of the knife tucked beneath her handkerchief. And her mind snaps back to 10 years ago. To Terrence coming home late, smelling of wine, of perfume that wasn't hers. Her quiet question, who is she? His silence. The silence that fractured her heart. She sees Kira now, at the altar, white dress glowing. The one who haunted Evelyn's nights for years. "She took everything from me," Evelyn whispers to herself. "She ruined my family, and now she wants to take my son." Reverend Samuel pauses mid-sentence. He stops. His gaze shifts, slowly, toward Evelyn. He's seen enough broken people to recognize when someone is past their limit. "Mrs. Collins, are you all right?" Evelyn doesn't answer. She just stares at Kira. The priest turns back to the couple. "Darius Collins, repeat after me." Darius repeats his vows, glancing nervously toward his mother. "To love and to cherish, in sickness and in health." Kira tries to listen, but Evelyn's whisper cuts through the quiet. "She doesn't deserve him." The priest looks at Kira. "Kira LeJoy, repeat after me." Her lips part. She begins to speak. "I, Kira." A sharp clack echoes through the church. Evelyn's purse snaps shut. She rises, slowly, deliberately. Her hand disappears into the purse again. Kira's voice collapses into a strangled gasp. Guests stand instinctively. Evelyn steps into the aisle, eyes locked on Kira. And just as her fingers wrap fully around the knife handle, she whispers two words, soft, deadly. "Not today." Silence. Utter, choking silence. As Evelyn Collins steps into the aisle with her purse hanging open, time seems to hold its breath. Everyone watches. Her rigid posture, her shaking shoulders, her fingers curled around something unseen inside the bag. Kira's blood runs cold. Darius whispers, "Mom, no, please don't." But Evelyn isn't listening anymore. She has crossed the threshold from pain into madness, and there is no return. The rest of this story defines violence and madness. Stories like this remind us that monsters don't live in shadows. Sometimes, they sit in the front pew, smiling. If you want more true crime stories that uncover the darkest corners of the human heart, hit that subscribe, tap that like, and drop a comment about what you think drove Evelyn to snap. Because this story is far from the only one hiding behind a wedding veil.